What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today is day 2 of the 5th annual 10 Days of Pumpkin here on the channel. But it's a special review, and that's because we have a guest on the 10 Days of Pumpkin. We really don't have guests too much, been a long while, but the guest we do have is this way, and he comes from Massive Beers. His name is Matt.
Oh, son.
Oh, baby, what's up, Daddy?
Yeah.
A little bit
Yeah,
up the
my
road,
name is
baby.
Matt with one T, like the thing you wipe your feet on. So just so everybody knows.
And that's all you need. But Matt, good friend of mine, fellow BeerTuber. You guys know him if you follow my channel. You know Matt's stuff. There'll be links in the description, the whole nine, everything, and we'll even have the handles now, right? Like at Massive Beers. Oh my god!
Oh yeah.
Oh my god! I'm so excited to a degree. Anyway, so the beer we're reviewing today, Matt picked up for us because I asked him to, because we don't get this beer here in the Western New York area, more specifically Buffalo, New York anymore. We used to many years ago. It comes from, some people might say Weyerbacher, others might say Weyerbacher, but Matt and I, being the pronunciation experts that we are pretty sure with like 98% accuracy that this is actually pronounced W-E Weyerbacher.
Yes, it's definitely W.E. Weyerbacher. I'm not going to reveal what the W stands for, but it's definitely a hard Y on the Weyerbacher.
Yeah, it's a Weyerbacher Brewing Company.
Yogging.
It's like yogging. They are out of Easton, PA, which Matt used to live in. And we have their Imperial Pumpkin Ale, the 2022 release. So this is the latest vintage. Now they are calling this one an ale brewed with pumpkin and spices, and they actually list the spices. Oh my god! It's cinnamon, nutmeg, cardamom, and cloves.
Cardamom.
And cardamom, is that like the Weyerbacher? This one comes in at 8% alcohol by volume, 21 IBUs. At the time of review, we don't have any idea when this one was bottled. Other than Matt knows it's fresh, as in it's this year's release.
Yeah.
But 3 to 4 months old, we'll say.
I'm getting these typically get brewed June, July-ish. That's typically the standard. So
because we all want to drink pumpkin beers when it's 98 degrees outside with like 98% humidity. I do.
Who doesn't?
I know. Apparently people do, because these always come out in June and July now, and it's crazy.
Well, I always made the joke, and I'm sad it didn't come true, is that it seemed like every year they came out earlier and earlier, and I was kind of hoping if they came out so early one year they were on time. Like they'd almost be like the 2023 version would come out in like 2022 in like October.
Yeah, I mean, who knows, man? We're going down that path. It's like everything's 3-4 months early. Anyway, give it a proper pour here. And by proper, I mean probably spill it everywhere, because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing anymore. If you watch any of my reviews, anybody out there, you know that I totally have no idea what I'm doing with pours anymore. And I'm all right with that. You know what happens. Get old. You know, you're not as steady as you once were. Whatever. Anyway, so into the light, there is a lot of floaties. Yeah, we have a very similar looking. Yours a little bit darker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can't really see. If I give it a whirl, most what you're seeing in there is carbonation and bubbles, but it's almost about the same amount as far as floaties go.
Yeah,
which you can expect with a gourdy beer, you know.
Yeah, and the particles are suspended in animations, like say they're just kind of hanging out, very, very moving, very slowly. But they're there. Yeah, it has that orange copper-esque kind of color that you kind of expect.
Yeah, if this was a hazy IPA, people would poop all over it because of its clarity and its particulate. Basically.
for sure, 100%. This is an English style, New England style IPA, by the way. Anyway, no heads, gone. Anyway, nose. Ooh, big on the spice for me.
I'm actually, and honestly, I did drink one of these because I gave you two. I had two. I'm blown away by like the caramelized kind of maltiness on this. Like I didn't remember it being that kind of doppelbocky as far as like a caramelized malt.
Yeah, it has like that caramelized sugar kind of feel to it, like brown sugar-esque. Yeah, the spices are there. I'm getting big clove, nutmeg. There's almost like a vanilla tinge to it for me as well.
Yeah, I would say, definitely some kind of like a oat. Like I don't know if it's a heavy oat edition, but that kind of like sometimes we get a super heavy oated beer. It comes off a little lactosey, kind of like that.
Yeah, I mean, it smells kind of to me like the actual pumpkin pie filling, as opposed to like with the crust and everything, more to that side, but not as much pumpkin pie as. More like you're saying, like caramelized sugars, caramelized malt.
Yeah, it's a little bit. I would say it's probably a little skosh less aggressive on the spices than I remember. Like it's not there, but I mean, some beers get so heavy-handed. But you actually said the spices in combination with crust, there is this kind of, when you throw that little kind of pseudo vanilla thing in there. I don't know. It gives me the whole pie experience, if you will. crust to the innards.
I actually have this on hand right now. I'm getting more so instead of a pumpkin pie, I actually have, I think, 2 slices left. You buy one of those pumpkin rolls. It's giving me more of a pumpkin roll kind of vibe because I'm not getting like the crust, more of like you said, the malty, like bready, like almost slightly doughy thing that you get from the roll, but you get all the spices and then like the buttercream frosting, which is kind of like vanilla. That's kind of what I'm getting here. But it's not like crazy sweet, but it's like in the realm of slightly one of those pastry pumpkin things that you buy around now.
Yeah,
maybe the spice fell off too, because one thing I always say about pumpkin, you get a fresh bottle of pumpkin like a couple weeks, those spices are dominating. You wait 3 or 4 months, all of a sudden like the graham cracker and the vanilla hit, and those spices kind of die down. Maybe that's kind of happening here, where if we would have had this 2 or 3 months ago, maybe it would have been more in your face.
And one of the things about these like higher-ish ABV pumpkin ales, they don't, I mean, as much as we're talking about being a fresh bottle, they don't age too badly. Like I've had several iterations of pumpkin beers from several different people, and when they are in that creeping toward double digits, they age quite nice.
Yeah, and even if the spices fall off, I feel there's enough of everything else to still make it a nice beer for what you're kind of going for within the style. Like, it's not going to be like those spices fell off, they're trash, unless you're one of those breweries that brew with no pumpkin and your base beer sucks in general. Then you have a problem.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It smells pretty good. It smells, I've always enjoyed this one. It smells just as good as I remember it. I mean, it's pretty fucking good. I mean, I don't know. Let's get into it. Thanks for joining me, Matt. Thanks for the bottles Cheers, as well, buddy. Cheers, buddy.
Hell yeah.
So it's funny. Now I'm hearkening back to when you said like the caramelized malt, and I'm saying like brown sugar and stuff, and now I'm getting a little bit more of that in the taste, like right up in front of the palate.
And when the weird part for me is it's not. I thought it was going to come off a little bit sweeter. To me, it's a little bit. It's a combination of like a bittering, but also almost like, if you get like specific spices, and cardamom is definitely one of those that kind of dries out your palate. So it's a combination of that fluffy, softy, spicy thing that dries out your palate. Then you throw on top of that bit of bittering, so it comes off less sweet, and I kind of dig that.
Yeah, I think for me, the cardamom for sure, the clove, and even like a lot of times I say cinnamon obviously is drying. When you throw those in conjunction, for me, that semi to full on dry kind of feeling on the back of the palate, a lot of times I'll say it would balance it out, but like I don't think this is too sweet to begin with. Like at the front, like a lot of times you'll get that and you're like, oh, thank God for the dryness or some kind of bitterness. This is like a super drinkable 8% Imperial Pumpkin.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's 8% and it doesn't drink like 8% at all. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of times that's my soapbox with a lot of beers. They drink smaller, but I kind of like that this one's a little bit kind of sneaky, little big guy. Yeah.
And it has like a nice solid, like medium, maybe a touch over medium body. It's not too syrupy or thick, but
I think the mouthfeel's exactly what you want for a pumpkin beer. Like it has this softness to it that is like, it's a little flatter than like a really nice Doppelbock, but it's definitely never going to be accused of being thin. But when you combine the mouthfeel to where it's like drinkable, a little bit soft, and then where it's not overly sweet, it ends up being like one of those pumpkin beers. Like I could see myself if I was really a huge pumpkin person beer, which I'm not. It's not that I hate pumpkin beers. There's a lot of bad ones, and when a pumpkin beer is really good, it's just a really good beer that happens to be a pumpkin beer.
As somebody who reviews so many of them each year, I can say without a shadow of a doubt, you have to weed through a decent amount of them to get like a really good one. It's tough. It is tough.
But when you get a good one like this, you buy a 4-pack, I could see by the end of the night you're going, wait, I drank all those? Like that kind of happened like in a very kind of sneaky kind of way.
And what I do like, we talk about not being like overly sweet. I still think it has that pumpkin kind of, like we said, pastry, pumpkin roll, pumpkin pie, but it's not like in your face, like over the top. You automatically recognize it. You're like, oh my God, this is pumpkin pie in a glass. It's not that, but it has nuances of that caramelized, like almost like you have like a caramelized almost maltiness that's more of like a brown sugar, a little bit of caramel, and a little bit of breadiness, maybe a biscuity thing that, again, could be a pumpkin roll, could be the crust. I get a little bit of that vanilla middle of the palate. But the spices on the back, I think they are, to quote a good friend of ours, fellow BeerTuber, we'll go with, I was going to say Kyle. What the hell do we call Kyle all the time?
Ryan.
Goddamn, I'm so old. Ryan. I called him Ryan in one of the reviews at BeerTuber Palooza, and I was so proud of myself that I remembered. But he always says things are like heroes of the beer, and I feel like that nice drying kind of spice is the hero of this one because I think it makes it again super drinkable, and that's kind of what you want. You want something that has a decent balance and it isn't too sickly sweet. At least I do. If I'm drinking 8% pumpkin ale, I don't want to be fucking halfway through the bottom like, oh my god, I want to finish this. You know?
No, if it's gonna be if something like this is gonna end up coming off kind of super sweet, I want it tipping 13-14%.
Yeah, I want something
pay for that. And it's kind of like that thing, like if you're gonna circle back to the pumpkin roll analogy, and I say this quite often in my reviews, it's an adulty sweet. It's like almost like if you went to like a high-end restaurant and they did their elevated version of a pumpkin roll, because it's pumpkin roll when you buy them at a supermarket, especially the pre-boxed Hostess, whatever you want to call them, they end up being just like sugar bombs that it's like literally just a delivery system for sugar. It's almost like someone thoughtfully created like their version of a pumpkin roll that wasn't overly sweet, that it was sweet enough as it should be, but also kind of ate more as a decadent rich dessert as opposed to just sugar on sugar on sugar.
I agree. Yeah, I'm right there with you. 8%, I could feel it a little bit, but like we talked about, like it's scary drinkable. Like without question. So
and we joked about the timing on these coming out so early, but especially with you being up there and me, today it was 50 whatever, you know what I mean, fall weather and stuff like that. It's like this is like what you want to drink during this time, so it works out perfect.
For sure. Yeah, I mean this is the reason why I like doing my 10 days of pumpkin at the end of October, is because the weather is appropriate, the timing's appropriate. It's not like I won't drink a pumpkin beer before end of October or after, but like I don't want to be drinking these things in fucking August 17th or something. I mean, it's just not my jam. It's too much. And I'm not even a huge seasonal person, but I guess with this style, I can say, I'm more of a seasonal drinker. And I guess there's people out there fucking loving June and July for pumpkin ales. I've never met one, but I'm sure they out there exist.
Well, I mean, nothing says quenching your thirst while sweating on the side of a pool or a lawnmower than a heavily spiced clove and cardamom beer.
At 8%, baby. Just keep on bringing them, baby. Keep on bringing them.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is the fun part for me because Matt doesn't rate on his channel and he doesn't rate in general. He stopped rating years ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd like you to rate here, baby. You got to rate out of 5, baby. What do we give this?
On 5? Oh man, it's and this is really hard to do, not necessarily because of the ratings, just because in my brain I'm gonna rate this on my perception of it, where it lands as far as pumpkin beers go. And since I haven't had that many, it's really it's kind of a little rusty, baby. But it's honestly as far as beer goes, for me it's probably like 3.75 as far as just flat beer goes. But as far as pumpkin beers go, if I'm kind of compartmentalizing it, it's high. It's much higher. It's probably in that 4.25, 4.3 kind of range for me. Okay. And as far as pumpkin beers go, because honestly, for me, and I don't want you to answer because you have your whole thing coming up and you'd spoil some stuff, but this is one of the Mount Rushmores of pumpkin beers for me. It's Schlafly, another brewery close to me, Fegley's, this one, and there's a couple that are on there. I mean, I'm excluding like bourbon barrel aged sour, you know what I mean? Just pumpkin / or if we say gourd beers, and it'd be a little maple misters up in that piece too. But it's up there.
Part of the 10 days of pumpkin, baby, even if it's not.
I know, I gave you one.
I thought that, baby, I can't handle it. Let's not do the dust underneath the table.
Yeah, beer 3.75, pumpkin beers 4.25.
Look at this guy's style and personal preference, and yeah, I mean, I'm kind of there with you. I used to like this one, but it never really blew me away for some reason. I don't know why, but like drinking it today, it's really fucking good. Like it is. It's kind of everything I want out of a pumpkin beer. It's not overly sweet. It has a nice dryness. It's very drinkable. 8% is hidden relatively well. This is, again, if I could session 8% pumpkin beers, which I can't anymore, this would be up there as far as like a beer I would want to grab. And like tomorrow's football, I could grab a couple, maybe 2 or 3, maybe an entire 4-pack, drink it over the course of the day. And I don't think I'd get sick of it. Like it's not too much of one note. It's not too much of anything. I just really enjoy it. So I'll go like 4.2, just flat 4.2 out of 5. I think it's really good. And I'm glad that you were able to grab a 4-pack and share a couple with me. Because again, we don't get the W.E. Weyerbacher in our neck of the woods anymore. So
God damn it, Weyerbacher. Whoever Walter Edward Weyerbacher, you really need to start stepping up and get back into New York.
And the W stands for whatever.
Okay. A quick question before we go. you mentioned like if you could session. Have you ever had a session pumpkin beer? I don't think I've ever had one.
Holy shit! Like a sub 5% session beer.
Yeah,
That's pumpkin.
yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Is that something that all the crazy things people are doing nowadays? Is that
That's
the
what I'm
next logical
saying.
step?
Why hasn't that been a thing?
I have no idea.
I've seen non-alcoholic pumpkin beers. I'm curious about those
Yeah, me
because
too.
the spices. Well, this one is very caramelized, sugary. So that's
Mhm.
obviously malt at play. Spices carry a lot of the beer, and the mouthfeel obviously comes from the gourd portion of the show. So I'd be really curious to try some non-alcoholic ones because you're talking about two of the big elements aren't
Mhm.
alcohol or fermentation based.
Okay. With that said, you said you saw a couple. Who did you know? Remember what companies or what brewers?
Athletic makes one.
Okay,
And
I'll have to
two.
grab it.
Not Two Roots. Out of West Coast or out of California, but they as long as you order like $20, there's
Online.
free shipping.
Yeah. I remember you mentioned
So
before.
a couple of people make them. So yeah.
Okay, I'll have to keep my eye out. Yeah. I'd be curious to know because a lot of the stuff is driven from everything outside of like the alcohol itself. Like I don't know. I feel like especially if you use lactose, if you're trying a little bit of lactose to get like that vanilla-esque kind of flavor for like the whipped cream, you could maybe bump up that body and mouthfeel a little bit too, make it even a little bit better. Oh baby.
Some of the best non-alcoholic beers I've had have been like Berliners and stuff because they're deriving a lot of their impact from non-fermentation process. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, how would a pumpkin beer fare? Just curious.
I just reviewed Untitled Arts lychee sherbet, and it was the best non-alcoholic beer I had in terms of like the body being like, there's like I can't even tell like there's no watery. It's a great feeling for what a fruited sour should be. So I totally get what you're saying. Last point is price point and availability. Availability, it's W.E. Weyerbacher, and they went bankrupt at least once, possibly. Well, we know they went bankrupt twice. We don't know if it's 3 times, but they did for sure once, and they went under. They came back. And when they came back, distro was completely different. Here in Buffalo, we used to get their shit all the time. Haven't seen a W. Weyerbacher beer in fucking years. Then they just shut down their brewery. They went bankrupt again, shut down their brew pub. But since they do a lot of, as Matt said, off camera, they do a lot of contract brewery. In addition to brewing their own stuff, they're just kind of focusing on like distro and like brewing their own beer, not actually having an actual brewery and brew pub. So their stuff is still on the shelves. I don't think I'll ever see it again. I don't think they'll ever go back to the old distro. So
I don't know, man, because it's kind of weird because I see him in Jersey heavy. I see him in PA heavy. I live on the border. You're saying Jeff from out Michigan way.
Mm-hmm.
He sees them. Maybe they dropped New York because there's some logistical cost to it that maybe doesn't make sense. I don't know, but well, I mean, who knows what the future holds? But in the grand scheme of things, breweries like these, hope they don't go away forever. Hopefully that's
because they make good beer. And price point, do you remember what you paid for a 4-pack of this?
I want to say $13.99.
I'll say mid
4-pack.
Yeah, that's fine. 8% pumpkin ale, $13.99. I'm down with it. So huge thanks to Matt, like I said, for hooking this up, joining me for a 10 days of pumpkin review. This is actually the first 10 days of pumpkin, so like I'm reviewing this before day one. Whatever. I wanted to get this done, so because we had to do it on a weekend.
Time paradox,
baby. We don't know what's happening anymore. But yeah, if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. Let me know what you think about it. Do you get W.E. Weyerbacher in your neck of the woods? Because I don't. Matt does. It's all fucked up. So anyway, huge thanks to Matt for everything. Thanks to everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol, baby. Not live, pre-recorded, but with a duo. Anyway, to the next one. Cheers.
Cheers, y'all.